444. It's time to start recording for this week's Cosmic Cunties. Welcome. My name is Tiffany. I am head cunty here for every week's energy check-in for what is going on astrologically in those stars, in those cosmos. How is it going to affect us? Maybe it's going to be internal. Maybe it's going to be external situations. Maybe it's more of a world view that we might experience versus personal. And that's something that I like to mention every week, is that our external world is a direct reflection of our internal world. So if we work on our internal world and we make sure that we've got ourselves taken care of and ourselves in check, then everything in the external world should reflect that as well. So my intention for everybody is to be aware of what might be happening energetically because of the transitions happening this week. And that way, at the very least, you can be well informed as to what is going on. And so you can show up as a better version of yourself, or at least try to. For the week of October 6th through the 12th, my intention for everybody is to help you guys navigate this week so that you can work on your nervous system. It's a great practice this week to see how safe you can make yourself feel with very fiery emotions that are going to be coming up. There's going to be a lot of intensity, whether it be internal or external, basically both, and potentially some confrontation. And so my intention for everybody this week is see how well you can relax into confrontation, to trust yourself, to keep yourself and your nervous system even keeled, not in fight or flight, and to just receive the confrontation if it comes to you, or to deal a confrontation out where you're able to still hold a safe space for people. I do not believe that we can go into the dark depths and to the deeper intimacy with oneself or with others in relation, no matter what type of relation, if you're not able to hold space for confrontation. We all have growth that we can be doing, and the more that we can handle confrontation or uncomfy situations and keep ourselves regulated, the more we will be able to connect with others intimately, and the world will be a much better place. So that's my intention for this week for y'all. Before I get started by the day, doing the day-to-day, I just want to let you guys know that this is a spicy week. We have a lot of Mars energy happening. Mars is the god of war. It is the planet of confrontation and conflict. It's going to be a lot of internal and external conflict, just to be completely honest. So Mars likes conflict. Mars likes to see how it can be handled. And so this week really is asking you to see if maybe you can handle conflict in a different way than you normally do, even if that means easing yourself into it and relaxing yourself into it. So we're starting Monday off hot. We have got Mercury, the planet of communication and of ideas and of intellect, moving into Scorpio. Scorpio is governed by Mars. So this is a meeting, this is also meeting Mars that is in Scorpio right now. So Mars is happy in Scorpio. It's been in Scorpio for about a week now. And now Mercury is moving into Scorpio. So we are speaking our truths. We're taking action. We're taking back our power. We're making things happen. We're speaking it into existence. We are gung-ho. We are charging ahead. We are on the front lines of this battle. We are making these dreams happen. We are making things move forward, whether it is endings that need to happen or new beginnings that need to happen. We are supported in that. We are moving things forward. And also, Scorpio is the sign of power. It's a sign of death and transformation, rebirth. So we are really feeling into, I'm getting a really strong message right now. I could be very wrong, but Scorpio, as I just mentioned, is death And rebirth, it can mean literal death. It does not need to mean literal death. I mean, we've all died 1,000 deaths, especially during this past eclipse season. But especially in our lifetime, we are not the same version of the person that we used to be, or any of them. We are a culmination of all of them. But I do, because it's such strong Scorpio energy that's happening, that we're moving into this week, that's going to be going on for a few weeks at minimum, there is potential for someone in the public eye to be passing away, not to alarm anybody. So just keep that in mind. Maybe it's a hopeful death. I hate to say that. I'm just going to keep that there. It's honestly what's best for humanity is whatever is moving forward and whatever I'm discussing, because Pluto is in Aquarius. So we have these next few decades of what things need to be shaken out and shined a light on, removed, worked through, that is going to be in the best interest of humanity. So if it's in the best interest of humanity, then bring it on, all of the above. And then, of course, Monday, like I said, it's hot, hot, hot. Not only is Mercury moving into Scorpio where Mars is, but we've got the sun in Libra opposing the full moon in Aries. Full moons are about release. We are in Libra season. Libra is all about partnerships. Aries is all about me, I, self. And so this is fiery energy, emotional energy. This is intense energy. This is really wanting to claim our own fire, our own passion, our own sovereignty. And if that means that we have to get rid of partnerships or relationships, this might be the week that that's happening, especially with all of this Mars energy. So be on alert that there might be endings to relationships and partnerships that are happening with you or around you, and that it's happening because it needs to happen. Everything that's happening is always meant to happen the way it's meant to happen. So, we're also being asked to look where we might be allowing things to slide or not using confrontation to become more intimate, like I mentioned in my intention for this week, where we might be beating around the bush, because we do have Libra where it's more about what are we looking for in partnership and wanting to help, like wanting the partnership to be healthy, wanting the relationships to survive, and even against it being like in our best interest. Sometimes Libras are very much so, their shadow side can be people pleasing and making sure that everyone else is taken care of, and then being like, yeah, I'm fine if everybody's fine. And then next thing you know, you're bitter because you didn't even check in on yourself. And that's where the Aries is coming in. So every week I'm going to mention this, two sides of every coin of energy of any archetype. Aries can be, maybe you're being a little too selfish and you need to release, full moon, ways in which you're not showing up equally in partnerships. Or maybe you need to release the ways that you are people pleasing and showing up for everybody else but yourself. Whatever you do, whatever you're releasing, it's going to feel fiery. It's going to feel like you are... It's going to feel uncomfortable for a lot of you, because a lot of you are not used to Aries energy. If you don't have Aries energy in your chart, or you don't have Aries within your like local friend system or family system and didn't grow up with it, a lot of people are not comfortable with Aries energy. Aries is very confrontational. It's very initiatory. It's very like, I don't give a shit. I'm going to go get this done. I'm doing this for me. And they don't tend to think about things before they do things. And they don't tend to speak, or they tend to speak before they think about things thoroughly. It's a beautiful thing to have, but also it can be a negative thing as well. And so getting comfortable with whatever fiery emotions are coming up inside, or any impatience are coming up, getting comfortable with that and utilizing that energy to move yourself forward or to speak your truth. if you're going to move forward and speak your truth, whether you have Aries energy within you or not, make sure that you're doing it in a safe way. If you know me in my personal life, you know that I take confrontation head on. Like, I will speak my truth and I will speak before I think, and I can't hold things back. I'm an honest person and I speak my mind, whatever that might be in the moment. It's probably been built up because I have a Libra moon, and then I'll let it all go. So for me personally this week, it's really important for me to know that if I have things building up that I want to speak on or that I want to say, that I create a safe space, that I relax into my nervous system before I go and speak, that I cultivate that for myself and for others. And so that's really important with this full moon, is to be comfy with the uncomfy. That's exactly what's going on. So we're hearing a lot from other astrologers and myself as well, like on Instagram, about this full moon in Aries on Monday. But I think what's even more powerful is on Tuesday, we're moving into a Mercury in Scorpio that I mentioned, but it's going to be squaring Pluto in Aquarius. So we're here to speak our power, to talk about death and rebirth, but we are also failing to do so on behalf of humanity and the crises going on. So my intention for you, or my question for you, is you might feel empowered to speak up on your behalf, like, this is unfair for me, or this is what's going on in my life, or let me take the power back in my life, which is beautiful if you've let that go. However, you might be feeling like you're kind of in this me energy. Mars also rules Aries. And so you're feeling good about speaking your truth and reclaiming your power, but you might be feeling friction about where you lacking in showing up for humanity right now. There are a lot of different things going on around this globe that it's like the fire is burning all around us, and we cannot just sit here and talk about ourselves. We have to talk about the injustices that are happening in our country and in other countries, and we have to speak up on that. We cannot let these things go. We cannot not speak about these things. And if you're not speaking about these things, then that's where Pluto, the square of Pluto and Aquarius, is going to come through, and you're going to feel it heavy on Tuesday. Tuesday's going to feel heavy. Tuesday is going to feel heavy because we also have Moon in Aries squaring Jupiter in Cancer. So again, still feeling fiery and intense emotions, which is really being expanded upon because Jupiter is an expander. It is, although it's the planet of what word am I looking for? Being optimistic. I was trying to say optimal, but optimistic. This is Moon in Aries squaring Jupiter in Cancer. So I've been preaching this since Jupiter went into Cancer. It's not all rainbows and sunshine. Just because Jupiter's in Cancer, it is an expansion on whatever you're feeling. And we're feeling fiery emotions. And so this is pretty intense energy. Everything we're feeling is going to be amplified to the max. It's uncomfortable, but the practice is to learn how to stay grounded and feel safe while in this energy, especially if confrontational, fiery situations happen to pop up. Then, work on your nervous system. Maybe practice saying, thank you for bringing this up. Can I take some time to think on this, and go regulate yourself? That is something I've been working on heavily. And so noticing where you're at emotionally and internally before engaging is key. This is literally, if you want to unlock the code to this week and successfully cruise through without a burn or a singe, the key is to be so in tune with yourself that you know when you cannot engage. And also, going back to engage, don't be afraid to engage in conflict or in confrontation, okay? We also have Moon moving to Taurus on Tuesday. So Tuesday night, we're going to feel some relief. Specifically, I know people are probably going to be like, when? It's going to be 12:12 a.m. on Wednesday, so on Central Standard Time. So finally, the moon is going to feel like it's regrounding itself and things are going to start moving slower. Our emotions are going to start kind of chilling out, and kind of like, this blaze of fire. And then it's like the land has been torched and now we can walk the land without being fearful of the fire. And hopefully you've learned how to embrace the fire. So that's where we're going, what we're dealing with on Tuesday. Wednesday, the moon in Taurus is going to both oppose Mercury in Scorpio and Mars in Scorpio. Like I mentioned, for this week, we've got Mercury and Mars moving into Scorpio, being best friends with each other. This is spicy, spicy, spicy. We're taking action. We're speaking on what we want. We're taking our power back, like I mentioned. We're making things happen. Things are moving fast. But maybe internally, because this moon in Taurus, we're perhaps feeling overwhelmed because of the Scorpio energy is very domineering and taking over our voice, our ideas, and actions. Things are happening and we might feel like we want them to slow down. We want to relax, but this is not the time to relax. It actually is not. There's a reason why Mercury and Mars is in Scorpio, and that's because it's time to move things forward. It's time to embrace that death and that rebirth, that transformation, and taking the power. It's like, it's time to own our shit. It's not time to slow down. And it's the time to make shit happen. Then on Thursday, we have the moon in Taurus trining Venus and Virgo. This is earth and earth energy. This feels lovely. This feels nice. This feels grounded after Wednesday. We feel supported and loved. Again, this is where it's so important to look at your houses and personal chart. So I go through this weekly astrology energy to let you guys know what's going on in the global and like essentially the consciousness of everybody and the general overarching themes of the energy that'll be happening. And it can be happening internally as well. And if it's happening internally, then it's probably happening internally for others. But what I do want to mention is it's so important for you to look where the moon is transiting in your chart. So if, for example, I'm a Taurus rising, and so if the moon is in Taurus, then the moon is in my first house. The moon in the first house is very fiery and initiatory. Get things done, release things, like launching, like brand launching, like take action, make things go forward. And versus if someone is like their Taurus house is in the 12th house, so then the moon is transiting their 12th house, that's a time for relaxing. That's a time for taking it slow. That's a time for letting the things that have been culminating while the moon's been making its way around all the signs to kind of just happen. You get to sit back and relax and watch all your work come to fruition, essentially. So I think it's really important that we do talk about the general energy, but it's even more important for you personally to look at your chart and to know what houses the moon is transiting in and or these other planets are transiting in, because it does affect you differently than the person sitting next to you. So let's move forward to on Thursday, continuing. The moon is going to move into Gemini. So this is the typical head and heart battle. Our emotions and what we think and what we feel are at odds. We also are battling between our emotions and our thoughts versus our emotions. So it's kind of like stalemate energy. Just Gemini, it's the two sides. It's the dual. It's the seeing everything. So it's like, well, I can see the positives and the negatives of both sides of this. And it's the moon, which is internal. So it's really, it's not just head, because Gemini is also ruled by Mercury. So it's in the mind and ideas and intellect, but it's like mind versus heart, but it's also our heart is in between. Like these emotions are going back and forth with each other. And then we have the moon conjunct Uranus in Gemini. So Uranus is the planet of disruption. It questions everything and it shakes everything up so that we can see like the raw footage of what's actually there. It removes the veil. Like Neptune makes things all beautiful and very delusional and very like woo-woo, and it puts like it's like Venus on crack, and Uranus is like, no, let's take this veil off. I'm going to shake it up, and you're going to see what's real, and you're going to see what works and what doesn't. So with the moon being with that planet, that's what we're going to be feeling internally. Still continuing that battle of the truth between the head and the heart, and the vastness of our emotions we tend to feel. Sometimes our emotions are in opposition of one another, Sometimes, for example, I used this example earlier, is that we might be feeling like we're ending relationships or need to end relationships this week. And so it might be this battle of like, I really love this person, and I see the beauty in this person, and I see the beauty and the positives that came from this relationship with them, but is no longer serving me in this version of myself to continue on that path with this person the way that it is, whether it's a change in the relationship the way it is, or it's just an ending of the relationship altogether. And so it's just a knowing that two things can be possible and true at the same time. It really can. You can love a person, but know that they're not. You can have love for somebody and know that being with that person or being in a partnership with that person, whatever that might be, it doesn't have to be love, is not in alignment with loving yourself the most. So even though you can have love for somebody, sometimes you need to recognize that you need to have more love for yourself, and that means that partnership is gone. So just be aware of that. Friday, we have the moon in Gemini trining Pluto in Aquarius. This is air on air. It's working together. It's an air trine. So we're really in our minds. We're thinking about how we fit into society, which is Aquarius, or how we don't fit into society, ways that we can maybe show up more for our groups and our friends, feeling like we want to do more for our friends or more for humanity or humanitarian causes. And maybe coming up with more ideas of how we can help others. And so we're really in our minds on Friday. And it really can be one of either way. Like, you could be like, wow, I do all this stuff for my friends. I'm so proud of myself. Or I need to do more for my friends. Or do I even fit in with this group of friends? You're really going to be feeling a highlight of that. Saturday is a pretty big day. There's a lot of movement going on. So Venus in Virgo is opposing Saturn in Pisces. Love isn't coming easy on Saturday, okay? There might be some discontent that's discussed, some discussions within relationships that are about how one or both people need to show up in a different way. Our dreamy love ideals are being kind of kiboshed on Saturday. So again, I mentioned potential breakups or endings in relations, or at least discussion of that. So don't say I didn't warn you. And just remember that there's such thing as conscious uncoupling, where you can consciously separate from one another in a very loving way and healthy way. We've also got the sun in Libra trining the moon in Gemini. So this is an air trine again, where we're in our mind. We have desires to be in relation, sun in Libra, or in partnership. And we also have feelings that are being supported in that because it's trining the moon in Gemini. So we're, like, I have all these great ideas to be in a partnership and in relation, and you're supported. You're feeling good, which is good, because if you're trying to have this conversation with this Venus in Virgo opposing Saturn in Pisces, then you're supported in like, hey, the way this relationship is not working for me right now, here are some ideas of how I need you to show up differently and how this affects me, or how this could affect me, and how I am hoping it might change a relationship. So the conversations are supported in a healthy, loving way that day. We also have the moon in Gemini squaring Saturn in Pisces, and the moon in Gemini squaring Venus in Virgo. So again, this really is not a good day for love. Like, this is not a lovey-dovey day. You're having hard conversations. You just are. You're not feeling supported. We might be in our minds. And again, discussions that are coming up aren't light and airy. They just aren't. They're the hard discussions that we're needing to have. So If you are not used to having hard discussions, this is a good time to practice that. It's a good time to regulate your nervous system. It's a good time to practice being comfy in the uncomfy. With the moon in Gemini squaring Venus and Virgo, this is especially true more so within love relationships than any other partnerships. So there might be friction about how we feel and how we are receiving love. So feeling moon in Gemini and how we receive Venus and Virgo. So there might be like just friction on like, this is, I want to be loved this way, but the way that I feel is at odds with this. So it's a really hard time for relationships and partnerships this week. It really is. And then later on Saturday, the moon is going to move into Cancer. This is the moon's home. She loves being there. She's comfy and she gets to feel everything. She feels nourished and aligned, and our intuition is more alert. So that's beautiful. Especially after probably the hard day that Saturday is going to be, and just the general hard week that it's going to be. It really is. I already kind of feel it. I already feel myself being like, I should talk to this person about this. And it's like, yeah. And so if I'm feeling it, y'all are feeling it. I know it. All right, Sunday, the moon in Cancer squaring Uranus and Gemini. So we've got the friction of the square. We've got Uranus and Gemini, which is really like that back and forth chaotic energy, that disruptor. And it's with our emotions. So we might feel like comfortable in our emotions, but Uranus is like, like, you're in your mind, and now your mind is making you feel some sort of way about how you're feeling, and it's just not feeling good. Some things might happen like abruptly that don't make you feel good inside. And so, yeah, just keep working on your nervous system all week. Really try to work with your inner child. Really be there for her or him or them. And then we've got moon in Cancer trining Mercury in Scorpio on Sunday. And that's the last transit for the week. So this is very watery, very emotional. Our internal world and how we speak are working together. So this can show up with feeling comfortable speaking our emotions and what's on our heart, feeling aligned and speaking from the heart, but it can also show up as being like messy and intense. Scorpio is a wide, vast array of being. An unhealed Scorpio versus a healed Scorpio is two different worlds. And so we might be feeling things deeply, and then when we speak, it's not really sugar-coated. It's just raw, real, unfiltered. And this makes a lot of people uncomfy, unfortunately. So again, maybe you're the uncomfortable one and somebody's speaking to you and it's not feeling very supportive for you because you aren't used to deep emotions like Scorpio. And Cancer is also pretty deep too. And Scorpio and Cancer are both intuitive. So, this is two water signs working together with the heart and speaking what's on our mind. So big day on Sunday. Maybe finally really letting it all hang out and support that conversation about how to move a relationship forward in a different way or ending it can finally come to fruition on Sunday without it being chaotic or too hurtful beyond what a separation might cause. So yeah, that is this heavy week of October 6th through the 12th. I hope that this information helps you show up more closely aligned with the best version of yourself. If you have any questions, put them in the comments. My Instagram and website are all listed below. And yeah, if you're looking for any type of astrology reading, whether it be a natal chart reading, how this week might be affecting you, 2026 readings, or synastry readings about maybe you and your partner or business partner that you want to see how you guys align or maybe don't align as much and what you can do about it and what it means, you can find it all on my website, www.tiffanyme, which is me, that just happens to be my initials, george.com. Love all of you cunties, and I hope you have an easier week than what I predicted. That's a fact, and that's faux show. Okay. Love y'all.